Hello and welcome back to Project 380. Today we're working back on the MG Midget. It's been sat for quite some time now since I've been working so hard on the Mark II, and it's gathered a little bit of dust. Now, as you know, I had quite a bit of problem with the GoPro and I've lost a lot of footage. And in that lost footage I have cut out the passenger side floor, the whole entire thing, welded in a brand new floor panel, and I've cut out the panel in front of the A-pillar. It all needed to come out as it was completely rotten. And as you can see, there were hundreds of spot welds. Every single one needed to be drilled out, and you could tell how long ago this was as some of the welds have already started to go rusty, so they need to be treated. The plan for today is to concentrate on that A-pillar, as that's a little rotten too, and that is causing a problem. The whole A-pillar is actually flexing, causing the window to drop as you open the door and raise back up when you close it. As you can see, I haven't even started on the driver's side yet. But to fix this A-pillar, as you can see, it goes behind the dashboard. So that dashboard needs to come out. The dashboard needed to come out anyway as it's rotten and not a lot of the components on the dashboard are working. So to start off with, let's remove that steering wheel and the steering wheel hub, which is nicely seized on. At this point I'm just trying to remove everything I can in the hope to get that steering wheel hub off easier. That was seized on, and I resorted to a hub puller. Now, I thought I had actually broken something behind this steering cowl, but that's just the dried up grease from the horn ring. With that out of the way, it's time for the rest of the dash. Luckily for me, my dad managed to find a refurbished dashboard, which I'm going to use to help me take out the old dashboard so I know where it's held in and what goes where. So now it's time to start disconnecting everything and labelling everything up. For some reason this dash light didn't have a plug on it. We'll come back to that in a bit. Removed the rev counter, labelled that up. Removed the speedo, labelled that up, and started popping out all the other switches. And the oil pressure gauge, the window wiper switch, the fuel gauge, and that switch that was completely broken. So the dash light, I've just decided to cut all the wires. That's a problem for future me. The dash was just held in with a few screws, and then it's ready to come out. Right, ready?
Yep.
So, down. As you can see, I lent in that grease on the horn ring. That was fun. Right, now you should be able to pull the choke cable through. Oh, hang on, it's still attached to something. What is this? Right, have you got the dash for a second?
Yep.
Are these connectors? There we go. Right, now you should be able to pull the choke cable through. Right, I've got the dash. And that is the old dash out. As you can see, pretty rotten. All the dash components safely put in a box, all the wires labelled up, and with that out of the way, it's time to get to work. So I've purchased myself a hydraulic body ram. This should help me press the midget back into shape. So what I'm doing here is placing the jack between the rear structure of the car and the highest point I could get on the A-pillar in the hope to spread the A-pillar apart. But what I didn't realise here is where I put this jack on the A-pillar is actually right where the bonnet hinge goes, so it wasn't exactly structurally sound. So I've moved that jack over a bit to a better place, put a good amount of pressure on it, and tested the door again. That's loads better. I wasn't too confident where I put this jack, as the metal looked a little bit thin up there, so I've got a nice bit of wood wedged behind it, and that seemed to work pretty good. So I've managed to get hold of a brand new A-pillar repair panel, which looks pretty good, and that's given me a guide of where it goes and how it fits. This door seal needs to come out of the way, and I know I've got the right repair panel as this indent is the same way. So I took a sander to this panel to reveal all the spot welds, and as you can see there's a tab on the top of the A-pillar that goes over this repair panel, so that all needs to be drilled out as well. Using this high carbide spot weld drill makes light work of these spot welds. I could do about 150 spot welds before changing it. I had to remove that hydraulic jack as it was in the way of some of the spot welds, drilled the rest out, and it's time for a spot weld chisel just to crack the last bit of them spot welds apart. Now this took me quite some time, trying not to damage the rest of the panels, and as you can see the top of that A-pillar has all come away. But the bottom someone has already repaired. No spot welds there, just weld. So I'm going to have to work some magic and get that top part of it away. It did eventually, with a lot of wiggling, come away from the chassis. Now time for the bottom half. It took me ages and I basically opened it like a tin can. But with that out of the way, it's time to clean up all the surfaces for the new panel to go in. I'm using a belt sander to do most of this. All cleaned up, ready for the new panel. And I've cleaned up the new panel in just the areas where it needs welding. A quick test fit of the new panel before it gets welded in. And a good spray of weld-through primer on all the bits I won't be able to clean up once the panel's in place. Now I'm ready for that panel to be welded in. The hydraulic jack can go back in the car with my little bit of wood. Make sure the door lines up, all the panel gaps are good. And that repair panel can go in. Just holding that in place with some panel clamps. And I can start spot welding it. Where this panel meets the A-pillar, I did actually bolt it in, just to make sure those holes line up, as they're the holes that hold the wing on. Now the clamps can come off, I can continue welding. Most of the welding's done, apart from the bottom of the A-pillar. So I drilled some new spots and welded them on. Now for inside the door shut. This needed a little bit of manipulation. Just pulled that in with a few clamps. Welded up round the main structure. Now in this new panel there's no spot holes to allow me to weld that panel to the A-pillar. So I used that bit that I cut out of the car from earlier to know where all those welds went, cleaned myself up a little patch, drilled some holes and started welding it all back together. With all that welded, it's time to remove that hydraulic jack and check my fitment. Now onto some more repair panels. I've got this replacement toe plate, which I cut out when I cut the floor out, but that can't go in quite yet, as there was a bit more rust I removed, right in the front arch. No repair panel for that, so I've got myself a cardboard template, cut out a new bit of metal, and that fits snugly in that inner arch. All welded in. Not the best welding, as I was welding to some pretty old metal. I've gone on the inside of the footwell and seam sealed everywhere underneath that toe plate and cleaned up the area where that toe plate welds into. Now it's time to drill some holes in the toe plate and clean it up. That's the toe plate ready to be welded in now. I done this bit off of camera as it was hard to get the camera, me and a welder in there, but that's all welded in now. There was a little bit of rot on the chassis here, so I made myself a repair panel, bent it all into shape, make sure it fitted, cut the old metal out and then tacked this into place, made sure it was all good, and then fully welded it up. I was pretty happy with that, especially considering what the driver's side looked like. And then off of camera I just repaired a little bit of rot at the back, behind the passenger seat. It doesn't look the best, but you'll never see it again. So after I finished the welding, I went away for a few days, and in that time my dad cleaned up all the welds, masked it all up, and put some seam sealer over everywhere that needed it. Basically everywhere I welded, and where two panels meet, the mask and tape is still on, so it looks like there's a lot more seam sealer than there actually is, but underneath there should be some nice neat edges, and it should look pretty good. He even done the outside of that repair panel, and he has since red oxided all of the passenger side. He's then come round to the driver's side and started drilling out all the spot welds he can find. And as you can see, the driver's side is the worst side. Right in the footwell is completely rotted through, and you can see the floor. So I've got a little bit of work to do. I'm going to do the driver's side completely off of camera, but once that's done, I've got some repairing to do on the rear arches, which is a suspension mounting area, and then just a little bit of rust to cut out on the driver's rear arch. So that's all from the MG today. As per usual, don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.